As we all know, Steve is one of the most powerful beings on this planet. In one of my last videos, I faced him in a gauntlet of various challenges, finding him to be a much tougher opponent than I anticipated. However, this time around, I want to face him in just one singular trait: mountain climbing. This is Mount Minecraft, a mountain that reaches the build limit at 320, and I'm going to find how long it takes Steve to climb that from Y62, sea level, in an attempt to beat that pace myself. Not only will I be attempting to beat his speed though, I'll be doing so while wearing an elevation mask. Let's go ahead and find out who stands supreme. Before making a game plan, we need to see what we're up against. Let's find how long it takes Steve to summit this monstrosity. And Steve has officially hit the peak with a time of exactly 3 minutes. Let's see what that means for me. For this challenge, I'm aiming to contest Steve by using a Stairmaster. From the start, things do get a little bit tricky though. Steve is climbing at a rate of 85 blocks per minute or 279 feet per minute. After a little bit of investigating, I found that the fastest Stairmaster I have access to only goes to a max of 182 feet per minute, which is about 100 feet per second slower. Since there's really no better alternative and the max speed is still ridiculously fast, I'm gonna go ahead and just work with what I've got. I'll still be climbing for over 3 minutes, and I'll still have to accept it as a win if I beat it, even though it's really only 2/3 of his true speed. Additionally, I'll be wearing the altitude mask set to 2,000 feet. I know the math doesn't exactly line up, since Steve's maximum height above sea level would only be 255 blocks, or 836 feet in-game, but since he's essentially bordering the atmosphere of his world, I figured it was fair to double the number that he's working with. With all of that being said, I'm not just going to go ahead and put on an elevation mask and jump on the Stairmaster. I would probably just keel over and die right there if I tried to beat him, so we need a plan to build up to that level of endurance. Thus was born the training calendar. Using little logic and a whole lot of assumptions, I've devised a plan to ensure that in 1 month, I'll be able to comfortably wear the training mask set to 2,000 feet while sprinting up the rapid steps. What could possibly go wrong? As a quick breakdown, we'll be operating the mask at 4,000 feet this week, 6,000 feet week 2, 8,000 feet week 3, and 10,000 feet week 4. For Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'll be using the elliptical for about an hour as a way to acclimate my body to the higher numbers, and once I hit the weekend, I'll be doing 30-minute Stairmaster sessions to get a good feeling of where I'm at. It is important to note that this plan has changed a lot over the course of the month, as I got a better idea of what was actually needed to achieve my goal. Before getting started today, I went ahead and took a video of myself. While my physique isn't anything of particular interest in this competition, I figured that it may be interesting to track given the severe amount of calories that I'll likely be burning. After masking up for the first time, I went ahead and set the meter to 4,000 feet before hopping on and getting started. To my surprise, the experience was a lot easier than I expected it to be. I went ahead and finished up Jujutsu Kaisen, which I've been watching for a while, and called it a day. I came back Tuesday, got at it again, and Wednesday was more or less the same story. Well, almost. For whatever reason, I felt like I was struggling with breathing a lot more, but that wasn't too concerning for me given that I had a rest day coming up tomorrow. So I went ahead, finished up, and went home. Walking out of work on Thursday, I started shivering. And then I started sweating. And then I started shivering again. Not a good sign. I got straight in bed when I was home, and essentially napped on and off for the rest of the night. But when I woke up Friday morning, I was drenched in sweat, I felt absolutely terrible, and I had to call out of work. I couldn't really avoid the reality of this. On the first week of the challenge, I somehow managed to get sick. Of course, I stayed home Friday. I figured that I could just get some rest and get the sickness over with ASAP, but unfortunately for me, I took my temperature later that morning and found out it was 102.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, I was really sick. I went to the doctor, tested positive for the flu, and was essentially told that it would be at least 3 to 4 days before I recovered. So that's the awesome story of how this became this. During my time off, I was at least a little bit productive, in Minecraft that is. On the world that I played with my friends, I got full netherite, I farmed enough wither skulls for 4 beacons, I built this masterpiece known as the Bamboo Bastion. But whatever, let's get back to work. My first day back in the gym was Tuesday, and I kept things super simple with just some casual treadmill walking. I wasn't about to mess up my respiratory system by going absolutely ham on my first day back, but on Wednesday, I put the mask on at 4,000 feet and gave myself one more chance to ease in, going for an hour. Finally, after resting Thursday, Friday rolled around and we upped the mask to 6,000. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I was pleasantly surprised to find this relatively easy. I think a large part of it was just how long I was able to rest, and my body came back feeling good. Finally, after 2 weeks, I was ready to actually start using the Stairmaster. On Saturday, I went at a speed of 6 with the mask set to 6,000 feet, but unfortunately, I was only able to last for about 5 minutes before I really struggled to breathe the air. I kicked it down to a speed of 5 and 4,000 feet on the mask, and I was able to finish the rest of the 30 minutes with not too much issue. Before getting into it on Sunday, I decided to first start by walking a few laps around with the mask and then getting on the Stairmaster, going from there. Turns out, those few minutes to acclimate were all I really needed, since I was able to do 10 minutes with the mask at 6,000, and then I just felt good and I continued, went the rest of the 20. So, overall, I ended this week feeling pretty confident after that major setback. Going into week 3, I was hoping to actually achieve everything on the calendar that I had planned for finally. The only change that initially occurred was that I did swap my rest day from Thursday to Tuesday, since that was a parent-teacher conference day. And I don't know about you, but I really didn't feel like doing an extra hour of cardio after being at work for 12 straight hours. Getting started on Monday, I did realize immediately that this week was going to be my first true challenge of the month. The change from 6,000 feet to 8,000 feet was just way harsher than any of the prior increases by a significant margin. While I could almost forget that I was wearing the mask on the elliptical for prior weeks, I had to work to breathe this time around. To note a few things from this week, I did get a snow day on Wednesday, which was kind of fun, and I did find a new cardio show after finishing Jujutsu Kaisen. It's Suits, it's a lawyer TV show, and I am binging through that thing fast. Over the course of this week, I managed to watch the first 2 seasons, which is pretty insane for me, given how little TV I honestly watch normally. Although this week did go relatively well, the weekend was going to force some changes to the overall game plan. On Saturday, I opted to turn the mask down to 2,000 feet in hopes of training at a faster pace for once. I set the Stairmaster to a speed of 8, and I managed to make it for about 10 minutes before I had to slow down. My heart rate had literally hit 200, which is not very great at all. I took the mask off, went another 10 minutes at a speed of 8, but even then my heart rate was still sitting around 190, so I just decided to cool down for 10 minutes, slow down there, pack up my stuff, and head home. This is when I really realized that I had not been preparing myself very well for this challenge. As much as I've been increasing my long-term endurance by a noticeable margin, I had completely neglected to train my short-term endurance. I needed to make some big changes if I wanted any chance of winning this. So tomorrow and week 4 are getting completely scrapped, and a new plan is being drafted. On Sunday, I decided to train without the mask at a speed of 10 for as long as possible. That way, I'd at least get used to faster speeds on the Stairmaster. During the weekdays of week 4, I lowered the time from an hour to 30 minutes, but decided to maintain the 10,000 feet on the mask. However, I would be upping the resistance on the elliptical to make it harder on my body. Finally, I swapped my rest day to Friday, so that way I could be fully rested and ready to go Saturday morning. Whether or not it'll work, this is the plan and I'm sticking to it. Sunday morning came, I managed to go 10 minutes at a speed of 10, then I lowered the Stairmaster to 6 and went 20 more minutes as a cooldown. Things felt good overall, and I was ready to go into this last week with full force. Starting up week 4, I went ahead and added the additional air restrictor needed to hit 10,000 feet on the mask. Remember when I said that the jump from 6,000 to 8,000 was bad? Yeah, this was way worse. If I'm being completely honest, I had to stop multiple times on the elliptical just to catch my breath before continuing, which is honestly kind of insane to say for the elliptical. Day 1 was rough, I won't lie about that, but days 2, 3, and 4 were significantly better at least. The change to 30 minutes rather than an hour was much appreciated, although the increased elevation and resistance nearly negated that completely in terms of exhaustion. By the time that Thursday rolled around, I was honestly just ready to finish this challenge and get it over with once and for all. Friday served as a well-needed rest, and for dinner, I went ahead and fueled myself up with a burger from Red Robin. Trust me, it was definitely the best possible option to go for. I got myself into bed pretty early, and did my best to fall asleep thinking about the monstrous task that lay ahead. I was ready. The big day is here. I warmed up by walking for about 5 minutes, got the camera set up, and started upping the pace. Let's see if all the hard work paid off. Well, that was rough. Even though I was only attempting 2/3 of Steve's actual rate, I still only managed to make it a third of the time. Steve isn't just built different, he's something else entirely. Despite how embarrassing that loss was, I do still have a few thoughts to cover before the video ends. First off, if you remember, I did a physique check at the start of the video, and here's the comparison to me at the end of the month. If I'm being honest, I really don't see a huge difference, but I'm not exactly shocked. Between me being in a cutting phase at the start, getting the flu, and eating lots of food during my recovery to avoid losing weight, there was way too many unique factors going in to really observe anything of note. Looking at the overall impacts of the challenge, I definitely feel like my endurance has skyrocketed when it comes to doing basic cardio work, and my endurance with lifting has seemed to go up as well. This may just be copium, but I feel like the primary reason I had to stop on the Stairmaster was due to my legs' exhaustion rather than my breathing, which is at least something I could continue to improve on. On the downside of things, my motivation in the gym somewhat tanked during this time. I'm pretty sure the combination of hour-long cardio with the bonus of it being more tiring than usual just began to wear me down, especially at the end of the challenge. I was frequently skipping out on the last few exercises of my lifts, and I found myself just lounging around the house way more than usual. Would I do this challenge again? Absolutely. For as exhausting and tedious as the process was, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a ton of fun to do. Sure, recording and documenting progress every day was a bit of a pain, but training with the elevation mask was a super unique experience for me, and I definitely plan to use it more in the future. If possible, I'd love to find a way for me to challenge Steve's true rate with months of preparation, given the unfortunate limitations of my own resources right now. Who knows? Maybe some real mountains lie in my future. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. I'll be posting challenges monthly, as well as other general Minecraft and gym content every other week. Thanks for watching.